Commander Teo stood alone in the observation deck of the research frigate called Harmony's Dawn. He watched the stars move slowly as his ship traveled through the empty darkness of space. His mind was thinking about the peaceful mission they had planned. They would study a new solar system and learn about strange new worlds. It was supposed to be a quiet job, nothing dangerous. Then the alarm came. A red light started blinking on the communication console. Teo moved fast toward the bridge. His team was already there, moving quickly and checking their computers. The distress signal was real. Someone far away was calling for help. Dr. Haywan was the first to speak. She was the ship's chief scientist, and she knew more about alien life than anyone on the ship. Her voice was serious. "Commander, we are receiving a message from the Epsilon 7 sector. A mining colony stopped sending signals 3 weeks ago. Now they are sending an emergency call." Teo looked at the map on the main screen. The Epsilon 7 sector was far from their normal patrol area. It was dangerous space. Many ships never came back from there. But a mining colony with people trapped meant they had to go. There was no choice. "How long until we get there?" Teo asked. 14 hours if we go at maximum speed," answered Jin Ho, the ship's navigator. He was a tall man with quick hands and sharper eyes. "But Commander, the Council did not give us orders to go there. They may not be happy if we leave our planned mission." Teo knew this was true. The Galactic Coalition was careful about its rules. Commanders were not supposed to just fly off to help people. But Teo had become a commander because he believed that saving lives was more important than following every rule. He made his choice. "Set course for Epsilon 7, full speed. Send a message to the Coalition explaining what we are doing and why. Let them know we will not abandon people in danger." His team moved without questioning him. This was why they worked well together. They trusted their commander, and he trusted them. During the long journey through space, Dr. Haywan studied everything they knew about the Epsilon 7 sector. There was not much information. It was a place that most ships avoided. Strange energy readings came from there sometimes. The Coalition had not sent official ships to explore it because it was too far away and not important to their plans. The mining colony was supposed to be simple work. People would go there, collect valuable minerals and metals, and leave. Simple and safe, or so everyone thought. When the Harmony's Dawn finally got close to the mining colony, the first thing Teo noticed was the silence. No radio signals, no energy readings from the base, just empty darkness. The colony should have been bright with lights and machines and life. Instead, it was dark and dead. "Bring up the colony on visual," Teo commanded. The main screen showed a space station designed for mining. It was not very large, maybe 3 kilometers long. Buildings and equipment covered its surface. But something was very wrong. Parts of the station were damaged. One whole section looked like it had been cut away from the rest. And there were other ships near the colony. Not Coalition ships, not any ships Teo had ever seen before. They looked dangerous. Their hulls were dark and rough. They looked less like machines and more like living things. Strange shapes and bumps covered their sides. The design was completely different from anything in the Galactic Coalition. "Those ships did not come from Coalition space," Dr. Haywan said quietly. She was studying her scanner with worry on her face. "I have never seen that technology before. The metals are strange. The energy readings are wrong. These are alien ships, but not any alien species we know about." Before anyone could respond, the communication system buzzed. A voice came through in clear language, but with a hard accent that sounded dangerous. The voice belonged to a woman, and she was giving orders, not asking questions. "This is Captain Heojin of the human frigate Retribution. You are in a restricted zone. This colony is now under human protection. Stop your approach or we will open fire on your ship. You have 10 seconds to make your choice." The bridge became very quiet. No one moved. Teo felt his heart beat faster. Humans. The Deathworlders. Everyone in the coalition had heard stories about humans. They came from a planet called Earth, a world that was covered in dangers that tried to kill you every single day. Humans had survived this world. They had learned to fight, to think, and to survive things that would destroy any other species. They were dangerous. They were fierce. And now they had ships that looked like nothing in the Coalition database. But why were they here? Why did they claim the colony as protected? The colony belonged to the Coalition. There were no humans living on it. Humans were new to space. They had only joined the Galactic Coalition a few years ago. Teo made a fast decision. This was not a moment for fighting. This was a moment for talking. He opened the communication channel himself. Captain Hyojin, this is Commander Teo of the Coalition research vessel Harmony's Dawn. We received a distress call from this mining colony and came to help. We do not want to fight. We want to help the people who are in danger. Can we talk? For a moment, there was only static. Then the captain's face appeared on the screen. She was a woman with sharp eyes and a serious face. She wore dark armor that looked strong and deadly. Behind her stood other humans. A large man with scars covering his face stood to her left. Another woman with cold eyes stood to her right. These were warriors. Teo could see that clearly. Commander Teo, I am listening, Hyojin said. Her voice was controlled, but Teo could hear anger underneath the words. But I need to know right now. Did your coalition send you to take the survivors from this colony before we could reach them? Did they send you to hide what happened here? Teo was confused. Captain, I do not understand. What do you mean by survivors? What happened at this colony? The human captain's face became very dark. She looked at something outside the camera view, then looked back at Teo. It seems you really do not know. 15 days ago, this colony received an attack. Not a small attack, not a robbery, a military attack. The colony sent out a signal asking for help, but no coalition ships came. No one helped them. Now they are gone. Most of them are dead. Some are missing, and we found out that the coalition knew about this attack and did nothing to send help. Heywan and Teo looked at each other. They felt confused. The coalition had never said anything about an attack on this colony. They had heard only that the colony stopped sending signals. Was the coalition hiding something? Was this true? Captain Hyojin, I swear to you that I did not know about this attack, Teo said. The coalition told us only that the colony stopped sending messages. We came here because we wanted to help. If your people are here and if you need coalition assistance, we can help each other. Let us work together to find out what happened. Hyojin watched him for a long moment. Then she made a choice. Very well, Commander. You can approach the colony with a small team. But if I find out that you or the coalition had any part in attacking our people, I promise you something. I promise you that humans will bring such pain to the coalition that your leaders will pray they never heard the word Earth. The communication ended. Teo slowly let out a breath he did not know he was holding. He had just made contact with the humans. He had just learned that the coalition was hiding secrets, and most important, he had just learned that something had attacked this colony with enough power to destroy a mining station and kill or capture everyone inside. Teo looked at Dr. Heywan. Prepare a small team. We are going down there, and bring every scanner and every tool we have. I want to know everything about what happened to that colony. As Teo and his team got ready to go down to the destroyed mining station, he thought about what Hyojin had said. The Deathworlders were angry. The coalition was hiding secrets, and somewhere out there in the darkness of space, something dangerous was moving. Something that had already killed many people. Something that the coalition had not wanted anyone to know about. The peaceful mission had ended. Something much darker was beginning. Teo did not know it yet, But he was about to learn why the galaxy feared the humans from Earth. He was about to learn what happened when you awakened the Deathworlders' anger. And he was about to become part of a story that would change everything about how the galaxy understood power, fear, and survival. The mining colony looked like a ghost from a bad dream. Teo walked through the corridors with Dr. Haywan and 2 other team members. Their lights cut through the darkness. Everything was broken and empty. The walls were damaged and covered with strange marks. It looked like something violent had happened here, something that tore things apart without caring about the cost. Captain Hyo-jin and her soldiers were already inside, searching for clues. She was standing in the center of the main facility, looking at the damage with cold eyes. When Teo arrived, she turned toward him. Behind her stood the large man Teo had seen on the screen. His name was Quan, and he was studying the walls with extreme focus. "The attack came from above," Quan said, pointing at the damage on the ceiling. "They came in fast and hard. Military precision. These people never had a chance to organize any defense." Haywan scanned the walls and the floor. Her instrument made strange sounds as it worked. She looked worried. "This is not normal destruction. This damage was made by something very powerful. The metal is burned in a way I have never seen before. The temperature would have been extreme, very extreme." They walked deeper into the colony. Hyo-jin led them to a storage room that had been locked. Inside, they found blood, a lot of blood, and more bodies, the remains of people who had worked here and died in violence. The smell was terrible. The sight was worse. These had been living, thinking people just weeks ago. Now they were just broken bodies that no one had buried. 43 people worked here, Hyo-jin said quietly. Her voice showed no emotion, but Teo could see the anger burning in her eyes. 43 people from different coalition worlds, different species, different backgrounds. They came here to work and make better lives. Now most of them are dead, and some are gone completely, missing, disappeared. "Captured," Haywan said, understanding what Hyo-jin meant. "You think they were taken by whoever attacked this place?" Hyo-jin turned to face them directly. "I know they were taken. We found a message. Come." She took them to the communication center. The equipment was broken, but some parts still worked. On one screen, a video had been saved. Hyo-jin played it. The video showed strange creatures. They were not like anything Teo had ever seen. They had bodies that looked like they were made of crystal or hard glass. Their skin was dark blue and black, with light coming from inside their bodies. They had 4 arms instead of 2. Their heads were wrong. Instead of a face with eyes and a mouth, they had a strange arrangement of what looked like sensor organs. Many eyes. No nose or mouth that Teo could see. These creatures moved with perfect coordination, perfect efficiency. They attacked the mining colony with weapons that burned hot and cut deep. The humans and other species who worked at the colony tried to fight back, but they had no chance. The creatures were too fast, too strong, too organized. In the video, a human was standing with a weapon, trying to protect other workers. His name was Min Su. He was the colony leader. He died trying to protect his people. One of the creatures came down from above and killed him with a weapon that looked like pure energy. Min Su's body fell to the ground, burned black. The creature that had killed Min Su was larger than the others. It was the leader, clearly. It looked directly at the camera that was filming everything. Then it made a sound, a terrible sound, like breaking glass mixed with something alive and angry. It was communicating with its other creatures using sounds that no normal mouth could make. "That is their language," Haywan said quietly. "Ultrasonic frequencies. They use sounds that most species cannot even hear. They probably have no vocal cords like we do. They make sounds by vibrating their body in different ways." The video ended with a message appearing on the screen. It was written in the most common language of the coalition. Someone, or something, had taken the time to write this message. The message said, "We are coming. We are hungry. You have something we want. Send what we have taken back, or we will come and take more. The location of our world is attached to this message. Let the Deathworlders come. Let them come and see what real power looks like." "They know about humans," Quan said. "They know about us." "They are inviting us," the other woman added. Her name was Jiwoo. She was quiet, but when she spoke, everyone listened. "They are not hiding. They are not running. They sent us a message saying where they are. They want us to find them. They want to fight us." Hyojin looked at the message for a long moment. "Then that is what we will do. We will go to their world. We will fight them. And we will take back the people they captured. But first, we need information. We need to understand what these creatures are and where they came from." Teo had been quiet, but now he spoke. "Captain, I understand your anger. I understand that you want to rescue your people. But this is a matter for the coalition. The coalition has power and resources. We should report this to the council and ask for help. We should not go alone to a strange world to fight an unknown enemy." Hyojin turned to face him with a look of pure anger. "Commander, your coalition already failed. They knew about this attack and did nothing. They let these creatures come into coalition space and kill innocent people. My people are in danger, and I will not wait for governments and committees to talk about what they should do. Humans solve our own problems. We protect our own people. We do not hide behind bureaucracy while our people die." "But you cannot fight them alone," Teo said. "Even humans are not strong enough to fight an enemy you do not understand." Hyojin smiled. It was not a happy smile. It was the smile of someone who had seen war and death and had survived anyway. "You do not understand humans, Commander. We are not strong because of our weapons or our ships. We are strong because our world teaches us to survive. On Earth, everything tries to kill you. Disease, animals, weather, other humans. We grow up fighting things that would destroy any other species. We become Deathworlders. We become unstoppable. So yes, Commander, we will go alone if we have to. But I hope you will come with us. I hope the coalition will help. And I hope you will see what humans can do when we decide to protect what matters to us." Dr. Hei-Wan whispered something to Teo. "We should go with them. If we do not, the coalition will try to cover this up even more than they already have. We need to know what these creatures are. We need to understand where they came from. Only by working with Captain Hyojin can we learn the truth." Teo looked at the dead bodies around them. He looked at the destroyed colony and the message from the creatures. He looked at Captain Hyojin's determined face. He knew what he had to do. "I will come with you, Captain. The Harmony's Dawn will travel with the Retribution. We will go together to find these creatures. We will learn where they came from and why they attacked this colony. And we will bring back the people they took." Hyojin nodded. "Good. Then let us prepare. It will be a long journey to their world. And when we arrive, we will show them what it means to wake the anger of the Deathworlders. We will show them what happens when someone takes what belongs to humans. This is not just a rescue mission, Commander. This is a declaration. This is us telling the entire galaxy that we have arrived, and we will not be victims. We will not hide. We will not apologize. We will fight, and we will win. That is what humans do. That is what we do." The two ships traveled together through the empty darkness of space. The Harmony's Dawn and the Retribution moved like partners, side by side. One was a research ship designed for peaceful work. The other was a weapon built for war. Together, they looked like two very different things that had decided to work as one. During the 6 days of travel, Dr. Hei-Wan spent almost all her time studying the creatures from the colony video. She had recovered data from the mining station's computers. Much of it was destroyed, But some information remained. She studied everything about the creatures, trying to understand what she was facing. She found something very important. She requested a meeting with Captain Hyo Jin, Commander Tae-oh, and the other human leaders. They gathered in a conference room on the Harmony's Dawn. The lights were low. The screens were bright. "I have found something that will change everything," Hae-won said quietly. She looked frightened. This was unusual for her. She was always calm and logical. "These creatures are not natural. I do not think they evolve the way normal species do. Look at this." She put the creature's DNA on the screen. It was a complex pattern of genetic information. Humans had DNA. All living things had genetic codes that told their bodies how to work. But this DNA was different. Parts of it had been arranged in ways that did not happen naturally. Parts of it showed clear signs of being changed by intelligent design. "Someone built these creatures," Hae-won explained. "Someone took DNA from different species and put it together in a laboratory. These creatures are weapons. They were designed to be warriors. They were designed to be efficient killers. Look here. Their nervous system is organized in a way that is too perfect to happen naturally. Their strength, their speed, their ability to work together without thinking about individual decisions. This is all designed. This is engineered biology." Kwon leaned back in his chair. His scarred face became even harder. "Someone created an army and sent them to attack us." "But who?" Tae-oh asked. "Who has the knowledge and power to create new species? Who could do something like this?" Hae-won looked uncomfortable. "There are stories, old stories that some coalition scientists talk about. Stories about the architects, ancient beings who lived billions of years ago. The stories say they seeded the galaxy with different species and civilizations. Some people say the architects are just myths. But what if they are real? What if someone has found architect technology and is using it? Or," Ji-woo said slowly, "what if someone in the coalition created these creatures?" The room became very quiet. Tae-oh felt cold. The idea that someone in the coalition, someone trusted and powerful, might be creating biological weapons was almost too terrible to think about. "We need to find out the truth," Hyo Jin said. "We need to reach these creatures' homeworld and find out where they came from. If they were created by the architects, we need to know. If they were created by someone in the coalition, we need to know that too. Either way, we need to find the people they took, and we need to make sure nothing like this happens again." The next day, the two ships reached the coordinates that had been included in the creature's message. It was a system unlike any of them had ever seen. The star was old and dark red. The planets around it were strange and twisted by powerful radiation and extreme gravity. In the middle of the system sat a planet that was clearly artificial. It had been built or heavily modified. Its surface was covered with huge structures that looked both organic and mechanical at the same time. "That is their homeworld," Hae-won said. "Those structures are not natural. They are breeding facilities. They are laboratories. This is a factory for creating creatures." Hyo Jin made her decision quickly. She loaded her soldiers into assault shuttles. These were small ships designed to carry warriors to a planet's surface. Kwon led the first group. Ji-woo led the second group. Tae-oh and Hae-won went with Ji-woo's group to observe and gather data. As they descended toward the planet, they could see the surface getting closer. It was terrifying. The structures were huge, hundreds of meters tall. They pulsed with light. They seemed to breathe. They seemed alive. But they were not natural. Someone had built this place. Someone had organized it into a factory for creating warriors. The shuttles landed in a large open area. The soldiers emerged with weapons ready. The creatures came immediately. Hundreds of them, thousands. They moved with perfect coordination, creating waves of attack that were beautiful and horrible at the same time. Kwon fought like a machine of destruction. The humans had been trained since childhood to fight and survive. Their bodies were stronger than normal. Their reflexes were faster. Their will to survive was like fire in their hearts. They fought with weapons made from advanced technology, but they also fought with their hands and their bodies and their pure determination. Jiwoo moved with deadly grace. She had killed before. She had survived wars. She knew how to move through combat and stay alive. Her weapons sang as she fought. The creatures fell. More creatures came. The fighting was constant and brutal. Haewon watched in horror and fascination. She was not a soldier. She was a scientist. But she was seeing something important happen. She was seeing what humans could do when they decided to fight. Deep inside the main structure, in a laboratory, they found what they were looking for. The missing colonists were there, still alive. They were being held in stasis pods. Their genetic information was being studied and recorded. The creatures were learning everything about humans. They were trying to understand what humans were. They were analyzing and recording and learning. One particular stasis pod made Haewon freeze. Inside, it was not a human. It was a creature. A creature that was half human and half alien. A creature that combined the DNA of humans with the DNA of the crystal-like warriors. This was a hybrid. This was something new. They are not trying to destroy us, Haewon told Kwon. They are trying to understand us. They are trying to create something new. They want to make a hybrid creature that combines human strength with their abilities. They want to make a super soldier. Kwon understood immediately. He looked at the hybrid in the stasis pod. He understood that this represented a danger that was even worse than the creatures themselves. This represented the possibility of something stronger. Something more dangerous, something that would be nearly impossible to fight. Destroy it, Hyojin commanded over the communication system. Destroy all of it, all the laboratories, all the genetic material, all the research. We cannot let them continue this work. The humans moved through the facility like storm wind. They planted explosive charges in every laboratory. They destroyed every data storage system. They freed every captive colonist. And then they destroyed the hybrid creatures in their stasis pods. The explosions were enormous. The facility came down in massive waves of fire and destruction. The creatures tried to stop them, but humans were already at maximum power. They were already fighting with everything they had. The creatures could not stop them. The shuttles launched into the sky as the ground below erupted in flames. The planet that had been used to create weapons was being destroyed. The factory that had been built to make warriors was being torn apart. As they climbed toward space, Haewon looked back at the planet. She understood now that the galaxy had just learned something important. The humans were not peaceful explorers or traders or explorers. Humans were destroyers when they needed to be. Humans were warriors who would burn entire worlds rather than allow their people to be captured and studied and turned into biological experiments. The age of peaceful exploration was ending. The age of human presence in the galaxy was beginning. And the creatures that had attacked the mining colony had started something they could never stop. They had awakened the Deathworlders from Earth, and the Deathworlders were angry. The Retribution returned to Coalition space with Teo and the survivors from the mining colony. But they did not go quietly. Captain Hyojin sent a message to every government, every military installation, every news channel, and every important person in the Galactic Coalition. The message was broadcast everywhere. No one could ignore it. No one could hide from it. Hyojin stood in front of the camera herself. Behind her stood her soldiers. Behind them stood the survivors from the mining colony. Behind them stood the proof of everything she was about to say. I am Captain Hyojin of the human frigate Retribution, she began. Her voice was calm but carried power underneath the words. I am here to tell you about something that your governments have hidden from you. I am here to tell you about a species that was created as a weapon. I am here to tell you about the Vexthar. She explained everything. She showed the DNA analysis from Dr. Haewon. She showed the video from the mining colony. She showed the data from the Vexthar breeding facilities. She showed the hybrid creatures that the Vexthar had been creating. She showed photographs and videos and proof of everything. These creatures were not made by nature, Hyojin continued. They were engineered. They were created by someone or something with ancient knowledge and unlimited power. And more important than that, the coalition government knew about them. The coalition knew about this threat and did nothing. The coalition let these creatures attack a mining colony with innocent people. The coalition let them take captives. The coalition let them continue their work. And the coalition has been hiding all of this from you. The reaction was immediate and enormous. News organizations everywhere reported on what Hyojin had revealed. Governments started demanding answers. Questions were asked. Important people in the coalition started to deny everything. But the evidence was too strong. The proof was too clear. The lies were too obvious. Dr. Haiwan worked with Teo and other scientists to investigate deeper. They looked at the old records. They found documents that had been hidden and secrets that had been kept. They found that some of the oldest members of the coalition had known about the Vexthar for many, many years. Some people had even worked with them. Some people had been studying them. Some people had been preparing for something terrible. One name kept appearing in the secret documents. The name was Dae Sung. He was a politician from a world called Harmony Prime. He was old and powerful. He had been part of the coalition government for more than 100 years. He had access to all the secrets. He had power over many decisions. And the documents showed that he had been protecting the Vexthar. He had been helping them. He had been working with them. Hyojin sent soldiers to find Dae Sung. They arrested him without any difficulty. He did not try to run or fight. He seemed almost relieved to be caught, as if he had been carrying a weight that was too heavy. When they questioned him, Dae Sung explained everything. He told them about the architects. He told them that the architects were real. Long ago, billions of years ago, the architects had created many different species and seeded them throughout the galaxy. They had created an entire universe of life, but they had also created fail-safes and weapons. They had created tools that could be used to control populations. They had created the Vexthar. The Vexthar were made to control expansion, Dae Sung explained. His voice was sad and tired. The architects did not want any species to become too powerful. They did not want any single civilization to control the entire galaxy. So they created the Vexthar. They created them to be perfect hunters, perfect warriors, creatures that could hunt down and destroy any species that started to become too powerful. Why would you protect them? Teo asked with anger in his voice. Why would you help them attack innocent people? Dae Sung looked at Teo with old eyes that had seen too much. Because we thought it was necessary. We thought that humans were becoming a danger. We thought that humans were too aggressive, too unpredictable, too strong. We thought that if humans grew too powerful, they would destroy everything. So we decided to use the Vexithar to control human expansion. We decided to let them attack human colonies. We decided to let them take human DNA and study humans. We thought we were protecting the galaxy. You were committing genocide, Hyojin said simply. You were trying to destroy humans using these creatures, and you were willing to let innocent people die to do it. The news of Dae Sung's arrest and his explanation spread through the coalition like fire. Every government wanted to know what was happening. Every species wanted to know if they were being targeted by hidden weapons. Every planet wanted to know if their leaders had been lying to them. An emergency meeting was called. All the leaders from all the coalition governments came together. Hyojin was invited to speak. So was Teo. So was Dr. Haiwan. They showed all the evidence. They explained everything that had happened. Hyojin made a demand. She demanded that humans be given greater power in the coalition. She demanded that humans be trusted to protect themselves and their colonies. She demanded that the old governments that had hidden these secrets be removed from power. She demanded change, and she demanded it immediately. "The age of hiding behind bureaucracy is over," Hyo-jin said to all the assembled leaders of the coalition. "The age of pretending that peace is possible when someone has already tried to destroy you is finished. Humans are strong because our world teaches us to survive. Your attempts to control us using engineered creatures have failed. We destroyed the Vexthar. We destroyed their breeding facilities. We destroyed their laboratories. We freed the people they had captured. And now you need to understand something. You need to understand that humans are not a threat to the galaxy. But we will not be victims. We will not be controlled. We will not stand by while people die because you are playing political games." The coalition government was in chaos. Some people supported Hyo-jin. Some people opposed her. But the evidence was too strong. The truth was too clear. Change had to happen. The old government was replaced. New leaders were chosen. Humans were given 3 seats on the new leadership council. Hyo-jin was offered the highest position, but she refused. She said she was a soldier, not a politician. Instead, a wise human named Sung-il was chosen to represent humans in government. But more important than the government changes was what happened next. Dr. Hai-wan discovered something that changed everything. She found more hidden records. Records that showed that other species had been created as weapons, too. The Vreth were engineered creatures designed to be infiltrators and spies. The Koltar were designed to be perfect warriors. Even some species that had been part of the coalition for millions of years showed signs of having been engineered by the architects long ago. This meant that the entire galaxy had been designed as an experiment. Every species, every world, every civilization, it had all been created or modified by beings with power beyond imagination. And it had all been designed with built-in weapons to prevent any species from becoming too powerful. "We are not free," Hai-wan told Teo quietly. "None of us are free. We are all pieces in a game that was designed billions of years ago. All of us are created things. All of us are part of some larger pattern." Teo looked at his friend with understanding. "But perhaps now we have a chance to become free. Perhaps now that we know the truth, we can write our own story. Perhaps now we can choose our own path, instead of following the path that was chosen for us." In the distance, the stars seemed to shine brighter. The galaxy had learned its most important secret. The galaxy had learned that it was not natural or free. But with that knowledge came a possibility. The possibility of change. The possibility of becoming something new. The possibility of freedom. 3 months after the truth was revealed, the coalition changed completely. The old way of doing things was gone. The secrets were exposed. The leaders who had hidden the truth were arrested or removed from power. New systems were being built to make sure that nothing like this could happen again. But the work of finding all the engineered species and understanding them was enormous. It would take many years. Teams of scientists, led by Dr. Hai-wan, traveled to different worlds looking for hidden genetic facilities and ancient architect technology. They found so many secrets, so many lies, so many hidden truths that changed how everyone understood the galaxy. The Vreth species, which lived on 3 planets in the Outer Rim, were found to be designed as spies and infiltrators. They could change their appearance slightly. They could hide their true nature. The coalition had been using them as diplomatic representatives for hundreds of years without knowing what they really were. When this was discovered, the Vreth themselves were shocked. They had no idea they were engineered beings. They had thought they were a natural species that had evolved on their homeworlds. The Koltar were warriors like the humans, but more brutal and less capable of thinking for themselves. They lived in a militaristic society where leaders gave commands and soldiers obeyed without question. When they learned that their entire culture had been designed by ancient beings to make them perfect soldiers, many of them experienced a crisis of identity. They started to question everything they had been taught. Other species fought against this knowledge. Some refused to accept that they were engineered creatures. Some became angry and blamed the coalition for spreading lies. Some became depressed and lost the will to fight. The revelation that the galaxy had been designed as an experiment was too much for some minds to handle. But humans responded differently. Humans took the knowledge and moved forward. Humans used it to understand themselves better. Humans saw that even though they had been created on a death world by architect design, they had developed something special. They had developed the ability to adapt to anything, the ability to survive anything, the ability to choose their own path instead of following the path that was designed for them. Hyo Jin was at the center of everything that was happening. She met with the Vreth leaders and taught them that knowing the truth about their origin was not a reason to despair. It was a reason to build a new future. She met with the Koltar and showed them that they did not have to remain slaves to their programming. They could choose to think for themselves. They could choose to become something new. She worked with Teo to create a new military force called the Galactic Defense Force. This force would protect all the Coalition worlds and all the beings in Coalition space. It would be led by humans and non-humans working together. It would be based on the principle that strength comes from understanding your enemies and being willing to fight to protect what matters to you. But not everyone in the Coalition was happy about these changes. There were people who wanted the old ways to continue. There were governments that did not like having humans involved in their affairs. There were people who were afraid of change. One of these people was a politician named Hyo Min. He was from an old Coalition world. He had been part of the government before the changes happened. He had not been directly involved with hiding the truth about the Vexthar, but he had benefited from the old system. He had power and influence and status, and he was losing all of these things in the new coalition. Hyo Min gathered other people who felt the same way. They formed a secret group dedicated to stopping the changes and returning to the old ways. They met in hidden places. They made secret plans. They spread propaganda saying that humans were taking over the coalition. They said that humans were dangerous and had to be controlled. They said that the old way of government was better. But Dr. Hae-won discovered their plans. Her team of scientists found hidden communication channels between the members of Hyo Min's group. They found evidence of meetings and plots. They found documents showing that Hyo Min and his supporters were planning something dangerous. Hyo Jin wanted to arrest them immediately, but Teo suggested a different approach. He wanted to expose them publicly. He wanted to show the entire coalition what these people were doing and why they were doing it. He wanted to let the people of the coalition decide what should be done. So Hae-jin and Teo arranged a public hearing. All the members of Hyo Min's group were brought to a large assembly where anyone in the coalition could watch and listen. The evidence was presented. The plans were explained. The reasons why these people wanted to stop the changes were made clear. Hyo Min tried to argue that humans should not have so much power. He tried to say that the coalition had been stable before, and the changes were making everything unstable. He tried to convince the assembly that going back to the old ways would be better and safer, but the assembly voted against him. The overwhelming majority voted to keep the new system. The overwhelming majority voted to trust humans to help lead the coalition. The overwhelming majority voted to continue investigating and understanding the engineered species in the galaxy. Hyo Min and the others in his group were arrested. They would be tried for their crimes against the coalition. They would face punishment for trying to prevent the truth from being known. But more important than their arrest was what the vote showed. The majority of the coalition's people wanted change. The majority wanted to move forward. The majority wanted to know the truth about their origins and build something new based on that truth. After the vote, Hyo Jin stood with Teo and Hae-won on a balcony looking at the stars. The three of them had been through so much together. They had fought against lies and hidden secrets. They had risked their lives to save the mining colony survivors. They had helped change the entire galaxy. "Do you think this will last?" Teo asked. "Do you think the changes will continue, or will people eventually try to go back to the old ways?" Hyojin smiled. It was a real smile, not the cold smile of a warrior, but the warm smile of someone who had found purpose. "Change never stops. Tayo, the galaxy will keep changing. New challenges will come. But at least now we are not hiding from the truth. At least now we are not controlled by lies. At least now we are free to make our own choices." Haewon nodded in agreement. "The most important thing is that we now understand who we are and where we came from. The architects created us, but they cannot control us anymore. We know their secrets. We know their weapons. We can protect ourselves." "And if there are other architect secrets?" Teo asked. "What if there are other engineered species or other threats that we do not know about yet?" Hyojin looked at the stars with the eyes of someone who was not afraid of the future. "Then we will face them. We will face them as we have faced everything else. We will face them with strength. We will face them with truth. We will face them together. That is what the new coalition is about. That is what this new age is about. It is about beings of different species working together because we have learned that our differences make us stronger, not weaker." The three friends stood in silence for a while, watching the stars. They knew that their work was not finished. They knew that there were still many secrets in the galaxy waiting to be discovered. They knew that there would be challenges ahead. But they also knew that they were ready for whatever came next. The galaxy had changed. The age of lies was ending. The age of truth was beginning. And at the center of this change were humans and the beings who had chosen to stand with them.